Hi everyone, welcome back, or welcome if you are new. Today we're doing the Q&A that I have promised you guys. I have a bunch of your questions written down here that you asked me here on YouTube or on Instagram, and just gonna go through and answer them. This is a long video. I did a lot of talking, so definitely get comfortable. You may have to come back to the video to finish it. It's definitely going to be a long one, but it was so fun. If you're new here, my name is Blair. I do all kinds of beauty and makeup content here on YouTube every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I hope you'll stick around and subscribe. And let's go ahead and get into the Q&A. All right, you guys, let's get into it. This is probably going to be a long video. I'm going to try to not talk too much about each question, but it's probably going to be a long video, I'm guessing. So grab something to drink or eat, or don't, and just relax and we can hang out. I have all of your questions, not all of them, because I actually got more questions than I thought I was going to get. So I have a bunch of them written down here, and we're just going to kind of go through them one by one. So let's get started. I will try to say what product I'm using, but I may forget. If I don't, everything will be listed down below. So let's get into it. Okay, I've done like one or two of these in the past, and I always kind of struggle to do makeup and answer questions at the same time, but we're gonna try it. So today I'm gonna use the Anastasia Brow Freeze. If you hear something in the background, it is my cat trying to get behind the blinds to sit on my windowsill. So that was one of the questions actually, is do you have pets, and what breed, or can you talk about them? And yes, I have a cat. Her name is Belle, and she's a gray tabby. I have had her for, let's see, I got her right after I turned 21, and I am 29 right now. So I've had her for 8 years. She is 8, and she is my child. Literally, I view her as like a human. We drink coffee together every morning. She often sleeps in the bed with me. She sits in my lap like 99% of the day, or if she's not in my lap, she is in the room with me. And actually, the way I got her was I actually found her. I was living in an apartment at the time. This is when I was in college. I was at the University of South Carolina for my first 2 years of college, and I was living in an apartment there. Or not there, but near there. And I was with my mom. I'll never forget this. We came home, I think we had been to Target or something, and we got out of the car and we were getting the bags out and turned around to like walk towards the building. And my building had, as most apartments do, steps like going up to each level of the apartments. And my mom turned around and she said, what is that running up the stairs? And I looked, and it was this little baby kitten. And she was probably 2 pounds, 3 pounds. I mean, she was so tiny. And of course, I'm a cat person. I love dogs too, but we always had cats growing up, and I just loved them. So my first thought was, okay, how am I going to catch her? So we tried to get her. We couldn't. As soon as she saw us, she ran away. We couldn't get her. So it actually took me 3 days to get my hands on her. And finally, I was able to catch her with a bowl of food, because bless her heart, she was so little and hungry that I brought her some food out in a bowl and finally was able to snatch her up. And she is like one of the best parts of my life. I love, love, love her so much. Her name is Belle, if I didn't say that, and she is just a sweetheart. You may have seen her in some of my videos. She's normally in here with me when I film. But yeah, she's an angel. I love her so very much. And we also have a golden retriever named Cosmo. And Cosmo we have had 7 years. Yeah, 7 years. So we actually had Cosmo before we were married. And he lived with Chris, my husband, before we were married, and obviously moved in together. So he and Belle are close to the same age. Belle is a little bit older than him. But yeah, he is a golden retriever, and he is so sweet also. I feel like the two of them, we just have like the sweetest two pets. I know a lot of people probably feel that way about their animals, but he is such a sweetie. And we actually got him from a breeder in North Carolina. We got him when he was really, really little. I think he was only like 5 weeks, maybe. He might have even been 4 weeks. So he was really tiny. Honestly, probably was not ready to leave his mom yet, because he's a very anxious dog, but he is the sweetest thing on the planet. If you have a golden retriever or you know somebody that has one, they're just like big teddy bears, honestly. I mean, they're just gentle giants, and he's such a sweetheart too. See, I told you I wasn't going to talk too much about each thing, and then I just spent like 3 minutes talking about my animals. But anyway, the next question is, who is your favorite makeup artist? And this is hard because I have quite a few, so I'm not going to pick just one, because I definitely have a few different ones. I love Patrick Ta. I love his makeup line, as you probably know, but I just love his style of makeup. He does such glam. He kind of reminds me of Charlotte Tilbury, honestly, which is another one of my favorite makeup artists. They have a very similar makeup style. They do obviously glam red carpet looks, but they do it in a very wearable way. Like, I'm not into, just me personally, I'm not a big like colorful makeup person. I mean, I like incorporating a little color here and there, but I'm not like a huge super out there makeup kind of person. I like very natural typically, but I love, if I'm gonna do like a glam makeup, I love neutrals. And I feel like he and Charlotte Tilbury, they do the glowy glam, which is like my favorite thing. So I love both of them. I also love Melissa Herkman. She is primarily on Instagram, but she is a celebrity makeup artist as well. And she posts all the time on Instagram. Definitely go follow her. I will list and link these people below also, but she is definitely a favorite. She also does that same type of makeup look, the very simple but very glowy and glammy kind of makeup. It's all the people I follow, all the people I like kind of do makeup in a similar way. So I love her. And then you guys hear me talk about Kellyanne all the time. I absolutely love her. She goes by Makeup XKA on Instagram, but she lives in New York City and she does a lot of celebrity makeup, but she also does a lot of tutorials and things on Instagram. And I love her as well. Let's see who else do I love. I love Hindash. I think he is so talented. I have not tried any of his makeup, his like makeup line that he's come out with. I think he came out with like an eyeshadow palette, maybe 2 eyeshadow palettes at this point. I haven't tried it, but I would love to. Let's see. I love Wayne Goss as well. I think he's fantastic. Hung Van Gogh. I mean, honestly, I could go on and on about makeup artists because I follow so many. I follow so many of them, and honestly, that's kind of what I do for fun a lot of times is watch. If they have a YouTube channel, I'll watch their YouTube, or I follow them on Instagram and watch anything that they post. I read things that they, like to use, and I just love makeup. But honestly, there are more that I really love, but those are the ones that come to mind. All right, next question. What kind of music do you like? I feel like I like very interesting mix of things. I don't even know how to describe what kind of music I like. The only thing I can tell you is my favorite songwriter, artist ever is John Mayer. And I'm actually going to see him in concert next month, which I'm so excited about. I've seen him one other time, and he was so good. I mean, honestly, I didn't want to leave when it was over because it was just, I don't know. He sounds even better to me in person than he does when you hear his recordings or his songs on the radio or something. He's my all-time favorite. But I also love country music. I was like exclusively into country music for a while, like when I was in college. And then now I honestly kind of depends on the day. One of the reasons I love John Mayer is because I don't know what it is, something about his voice is so calming to me. So calming to me. I could just listen to it all day. All day. I love it. I love every song he's ever come out with, literally. And I know them all, word for word. I also love country music. But I also really I don't even know what genre you would consider this, but I have found this radio station. It's actually an iHeartRadio radio station on the iHeartRadio app. And it's called The Breeze, I think is what it is. But I want to say it's like 70s and 80s music. And I actually listen to that a ton in my car when I drive. I don't know why, but I really like it. So I don't really have like a specific style of music that I like other than country, some 70s and 80s, and John Mayer is my absolute favorite. All right, next question. What goals do you have for 2022? I love this question because I have a lot of them. I have a ton. First, for YouTube kind of goals. My goal in terms of subscribers for this year is a pretty bold goal, but it was to hit 20,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So obviously that's a huge goal for me. I also really wanted to focus a little bit more on Instagram this year. Instagram, I don't know if I've ever really talked about this, but Instagram does not come as naturally to me as YouTube does. Same with TikTok. I don't know what it is, but YouTube just comes so naturally. I don't think I've ever done anything in my life that comes as naturally to me as sitting down and talking about makeup and filming. I don't know. It just comes very naturally to me. Instagram, I feel like is more of on the fly kind of stuff, same as TikTok, and that's just not really my personality. I am a Virgo, and I am a true Virgo. If you look up the traits of Virgos, I'm much more of a planner. Okay, I know what video I'm going to film today. I know how I'm going to film it, when I'm going to film it, what products I'm going to use. I'm definitely much more of that kind of person. Whereas Instagram and TikTok are very like sharing things like in the moment, you know? And anyway, so back to my goals. I want to be better on Instagram and TikTok for sure. And I feel like I have been so far, like better than I've been in the past. So I'm happy about that. And definitely go follow me over there if you don't already. Plug. I would love to get on PR lists. That's like the dream of YouTube if you do beauty content, is to get on a PR list or some PR list. So that's always been a goal. But I also think that when that's supposed to happen, it will happen. So those are kind of my YouTube goals. Personal kind of goals. My main goal this year was to go to the gym regularly, which I have been doing. So I'm happy about that. And I really want to go at least 3 days a week, preferably 4 or 5. But that's definitely a goal for me. And then also, I feel like most people have financial goals, which I definitely do. Mine is, I have a few of them, but I will be the first to admit I'm not the best budgeter, especially with doing YouTube and videos. It's very hard to know what to buy, when to buy it, how much to buy, like that kind of stuff, because part of me, obviously, I want to grow the channel and I want to get more subscribers and get more exposure and all that. And unfortunately, a lot of the times the way you do that is reviewing new products, because people are searching for those things on YouTube and that's how they find you. So you have to make videos that are searchable, but at the same time, like, I can't go out and buy every single new product, even though I would love to. It's just not possible financially for me. So that's definitely a goal, is to get better at budgeting my money in terms of my makeup buying and for YouTube and videos and all that. And I also, when you do YouTube, you're technically self-employed unless you have another full-time job or part-time job, which at this time I do not. So technically you're self-employed, which means you have to save money for taxes, and there's a whole other side to money in YouTube and that kind of stuff. So I want to learn more about that this year and just feel like more prepared going forward with that kind of stuff, because I just don't know anything about it. All right, next question is, what do you do for fun? Honestly, you guys, I'm a pretty boring person. I mean, it doesn't take a lot to entertain me, to be honest. This is fun for me, sitting and filming. Or even if I'm not filming, I will just sometimes come in here and just pull out like an eyeshadow palette, or if I got like a new product or something, I'll just come in here and kind of play around with it. That is like my escape, honestly, from everything. Is I just love to sit in here and, whether I'm filming or not, and just play with my makeup. But I'll tell you something else I really love to do. And this kind of relates to YouTube also, but one of my favorite things is to go to Ulta or Sephora, or really anywhere that sells makeup, and just go through and look really closely at the products, and to look online at the reviews of them, like as I'm shopping. Like, I love to go to Ulta, really Ulta in particular. I love to do this since they have the high-end and the skincare stuff, and they have drugstore makeup, they have self-tanner, they have hair stuff, they have so much stuff. I love to go there like earlier in the day before, like right when they open, and to just wander around and look at products and look up the reviews on the app. I love to do that kind of thing now. Usually that gets me in trouble because I no doubt will discover something that I've never seen before and then decide that, oh, I really need to try that. So I try not to do that often, but that is one of my favorite things to do, is go in, usually like on a weekday morning. If I can, I like to go and just wander around and look at things, because that's usually when they're putting stock out, I've noticed. So I love to do that. But I honestly love, I'm definitely a homebody. I love to be at home. I love to obviously hang out with my pets and my husband, and just, I'm a homebody, truly. I'm not a very exciting person. But yeah, I honestly feel like YouTube and what I do here is my job, but it really doesn't feel like a job. It just feels fun, which is like the best thing ever. All right, the next question was if I have another job outside of YouTube or career. I've talked about this in another video, I guess like 4 or 5 months ago, but as of right now, no, I do not. I only do YouTube. And prior to that, I was actually worked for a home health company. I worked remotely, and I did scheduling for them. So I did a lot of things. I did like training for them. I did scheduling. I did admin stuff. I did all kinds of things. And last July, so July of 2021, I did leave my job to attempt YouTube full-time. And I kind of waited a while actually before I shared that here on YouTube, just because I didn't really know the best way to go about like talking about it. But basically, I was at that same job for almost 5 years, really since I've been out of college. I had that same job, and it was a good job. I learned a lot from that job, but it was to the point where the job was affecting my life. It was not, yes, it was helping us, I guess you could say, financially, but in the grand scheme of things, I was not making very much for the amount of stress that I felt from the job. And it kind of got to the point where I didn't even really want to do work on my YouTube channel when I had a chance, because I was so burnt out from my job. It just got to be too much for me. So my husband and I decided that I was going to leave and I was going to work on this full time and just see what happens. And I am lucky enough to be in a position where I am able to do that. But I will also say that no, I'm not making anywhere near enough to live on if we didn't have my husband's income. So please don't think I'm over here just like making all this money on YouTube, because I'm not. But you know, I have grown quite a bit since I quit my job. I mean, I'm nowhere near where I would like to be, but I am really proud of the growth that I have had. And to me, the most important thing is not even really the growth. It is important, but at the same time, what's important to me is my mental health. And, you know, I'm sure a lot of you can relate to this, but when you are unhappy with your job, it trickles into every part of your life. It's not just your job. that you're unhappy with. It, you know, it affects how you feel mentally, physically, it affects your relationships, it affects really every part of your life, and stress is a part of life, but when it gets to the point where it's kind of like taking over, you kind of have to reevaluate and weigh the pros and cons and decide what to do next, because it's no way to live or go through your life, if that makes sense. So no, as of right now, I do not have another job, just YouTube. We will see. I don't know what the future holds, but as of right now, I'm really happy with that. Okay, the next one was kind of about, it was a longer question, so I'm not going to read it like word for word, but actually, let me grab my mirror. It was a longer question, but it was basically about my personality and how I get the most common comment that I get on my videos, and it still kind of baffles me, to be honest, but the most common thing people will say about my videos is that I'm a very calming person, that my videos make them feel calm, or I just have like a calming presence, which that is like the ultimate compliment to me, above like makeup or anything, any other compliment really you could give me. I think that is like the most complimentary thing to say about someone, because that is exactly what I want this channel to be. I want it to be comforting and relaxing, because for me, when I have had a bad day, or you know, I just have things going on and I want to kind of escape, there are definitely YouTubers that I watch because they give me that calming presence, kind of calming effect, if that makes sense. So the fact that any of you say that I do that for you is just the biggest compliment to me. I'm really honored, to be honest, because comfort is something that's really important to me personally. And if I can give anyone that in any way, shape, or form, I think that is just the most amazing thing. The question was, though, you seem like a very calm person, unlike some other people that you may see on YouTube where they're very energetic and outgoing and loud. And the question was, is this how you are in real life? And the answer to that is 100% yes. I am, what you see here on video is how I am. I'm not, and my goal is to be 100% authentic. I am not put on, I'm not trying to be somebody that I'm not, and I think that's really important. That is definitely something that's come easier to me as I've gotten older, but yes, 100% what you see, that was Cosmo if you've heard that. But what you see is exactly how I am in real life. I mean, I will say I'm not calm 100% of the time. I definitely have my moments where I get, you know, bent out of shape like anyone does. But for the most part, I think, yes, I'm a very calm person. I hope, at least calming, I should say, because I'm also a very anxious person. I've kind of talked about that before. So I guess I am calm. Like, I guess I have kind of a calming presence, but I am an anxious person. So that's kind of one of the reasons why YouTube is such an important part of my life now, is that this sitting down and filming videos really calms me, honestly. And it's, I don't know, something I'm really thankful for. Okay, let's talk about the question that was probably asked the most in video and in real life. I get this question all the time, and that is, do you want kids? When are you gonna have kids? Do you have kids? Why don't you have kids? Yeah, so I get that question all the time, and this is probably gonna be a long answer to this question. But no, a few of you had asked that were newer to my channel, do I have kids? No, I do not. Just my Belle my kitty cat Belle and Cosmo, our golden retriever. So it's just the two of them and then my husband and I. So no, we don't have kids. Yes, we do want them, just not right now is kind of the short answer. So I have never really, I don't know, I never saw myself having kids really young. That's just not really something that I've ever wanted for myself. Yes, we definitely do want them, and you know, I'm excited for that time in our lives. I don't know when that will be. I am 29. My husband is 33. He is definitely, I would say, probably more ready for that right now than I am, for a few reasons. Number one, kind of a reason I feel like no one talks about, so I'm going to talk about it. I'm scared to have a baby. Like, not just to be a mom. I am a little scared of that too, but not so much as I am like actually being pregnant and having a baby. I feel like I don't hear many people talking about that, and I don't know, maybe I'm in the minority and most people are not afraid of that at all, but I am terrified of having a baby, and I'm sure that will not go away. You know, it may get better as I get older, but I don't think that feeling is going to go away. I'm definitely not as scared as I would have told you I was a few years ago. But yeah, I definitely do want kids, but I'm just not quite there yet mentally. Also, with our lives financially, this is kind of something else I feel like is not talked about enough, is having a child. I don't have one, but I know having a child is a huge commitment. Not only does your life change a lot, and I don't even know the half of it because I have never done it before, but it's a big commitment. It's it's expensive. And like I said earlier, as of right now, I'm just doing YouTube. I don't have another job right now, and we are able to make that work because we don't have kids. If we had kids, it would not be it would not be possible. So that's just kind of my thought on it. I do want to have kids, but I want to do it if I can help it. I want to be in a good place, mentally in a good place, financially, and just make that transition as easy as it can be. So that's kind of my thought on that. But yes, we do want kids, just not quite yet. I don't know when, but not quite yet. I've always, I guess, kind of thought in my head, 30 has kind of been the magical number for me in my head. I don't know why 30, but 30 just feels like the magic number. I am 29. I'll be 30 in September. So I don't know. You know, what happens, happens. That's just kind of how life is. But I do want to feel like we're in the best place that we could possibly be before that happens, if that makes sense. I also had some people asking if that was why I was coming off, or why I came off birth control. I talked about a few videos back how I was on birth control and I recently decided to come off of it. And no, that was in no way because we were trying to have a baby. It was for the mental part of birth control and how it just does not make me feel good. So that's why I came off birth control, not because we were trying to have a baby. But yeah, so basically, yes, we do want kids, just not quite yet. And you know, when I was growing up, my mom was a stay-at-home mom, and I loved that. I've always known that I wanted that for my kids. I wanted to be there at home with them, and that's just always been something that's really important to me, which kind of plays into why I've always wanted to wait until I was a little bit older and just to be in a good place financially so that we can do that. So yeah, we do want kids, just not right now. All right, we're gonna use the Tartelette Full Bloom palette today because I'm trying to do like a springy kind of makeup look, since I think Monday was the first day of spring. Today's Tuesday, the 22nd. I think either Monday or Sunday was actually the first day of spring, but to me this palette screams springtime, so we're gonna use this today. So I'm gonna go into the shade Fresh Picked right here. I'm not even sure if I've used this shade before, but I'm gonna put this in the crease. Okay, the next question was, how long have you been with your husband? So we will be married for 5 years this May, and we've known each other for 9 years, or this fall will be 9 years. All right, next I'm gonna go into, this palette is so big, it's so hard to show you. This shade in the corner, it's called Peony. It's kind of a blush pinky color. Something else I was gonna say before we move on to the next question about having kids is I shared a few months ago, this was back when I shared that I had quit my job. Last year, around this time, actually, around this exact time, I had a miscarriage. And if you want more information on kind of what happened, I'll link the video for you. I'm not going to talk a whole lot about it, but I was definitely kind of scared of having a baby before that. Just scared of like actually being pregnant and having the baby. And then that happened last year, and I'm just going to be straight up honest, that just made it worse because it was very scary. It was very, very terrifying, to be honest, because we were not trying to have a baby. It just kind of happened. And yeah, it was very scary, and I feel for anyone that goes through that. I know that affects so many women. I don't even know how to describe it, but it's not a fun thing. It's miserable and it's sad. And yeah, I went through a lot when that happened about a year ago, and that definitely did not help in terms of my fear of having a baby. Again, I'll link the video if you want to hear me talk about it more. But yeah, I basically just started not feeling very good, and I couldn't figure out why. Finally ended up going to the doctor. They told me I was pregnant, and a week later they told me I'd had a miscarriage, and it wasn't a fun time. It was not a fun time. But yeah, I try to tell myself that when the time is right, that will happen, and I will know when I'm ready for that. Ooh, next question. I love this question. Advice you would give your younger self. Boy, would I give myself some advice. I'll tell you the number one thing I would tell myself if I could go back. And if you are a quiet person watching this, an introverted person, just somebody that doesn't talk a whole lot, and you're just more of a reserved person, listen up, because this is for you. There is nothing wrong with being a quiet person. There is nothing wrong with being an introvert. There is nothing wrong with being not the loudest person in the room. And the reason that I say that is because when I was younger, there were so many times, and I know I'm not the only person this has happened to, but there were so many times in school where when you would get your report card, I would have great grades, but I would get a bad participation grade. And the reason I would get a bad participation grade is because I didn't want to talk in class. I didn't raise my hand for every question or like want to be the center of attention. Like, it seems like there are much more people that do than don't. And there were so many times when I thought, gosh, like, what is wrong with me? Why is it like I never knew it was such a bad thing to be like a quiet person? And as I've gotten older and older, I've realized there is nothing wrong with that. Nothing at all. Okay. Time out. Let's use maybe this shade. Plush. It's kind of a pinky metallic. It looks like it has some gold shimmer in it. But yeah, that's the first thing I would tell myself, honestly, is if you are a quiet person, you are not hurting anybody by being quiet. There is nothing wrong with that, and you should just embrace it. Don't let anyone make you feel like there's something wrong with being the way that you are. So that is number one advice I would give myself. Number two is don't feel like you have to figure out what you want to do with your life by the time you graduate high school, like by the time you're 18 years old. Because if I had known when I was 18 how much I loved makeup and how much of a passion I would have for beauty and YouTube and all of this kind of stuff, I honestly probably would not have gone to college. And that was another question is, did you go to college? Yes, I did. Did you get a degree? Yes, I did. I went to the University of South Carolina for my first 2 years, and then I ended up transferring to NC State or North Carolina State University, and I graduated from there with a degree in brand management and marketing. But the reason I say that about don't feel like you have to know what you want to do with your life is when I was at USC, I had, I guess, like a bit of an identity crisis. Not an identity crisis, but I just didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I didn't know what I wanted to do as a career. Most of my life growing up, I thought that I was going to be a teacher. I thought I was going to be like an early childhood education teacher, like a kindergarten teacher. And I thought that for a long time. And went to college. I started out in that major. Quickly realized I didn't think it was for me. And changed my major to nursing because really the only reason was because people were always telling me of how great of a career that was, and you know, if I didn't know what to do, that would be a good thing to do and all that. So I did that. Quickly realized that was not going to be it for me. Went back to education again. Realized again that was not it. Went back to nursing. Realized again that was not it. Then I transferred to NC State, and I think I got the closest there to what I'm actually interested in, which is, you know, I do love branding, and I love advertising, and that's part of what I like about YouTube is like the businessy side of it. I think that kind of stuff is really interesting and fun. And we didn't even talk about video or anything like that, but I did learn a lot about supply chain and different types of fabric and textiles and that kind of stuff. And I learned some advertising stuff too, some marketing stuff, just a really good overview of business. So that's what I did. And then I graduated college, I got married, and I started working in healthcare. So, and then here I am now. I have a YouTube channel, and this is what I do full time. But long story short of what I'm trying to say with that is don't put pressure on yourself to feel like you have to figure out exactly what you're super passionate about when you're 18 years old. I think that's kind of an issue with our society and how you are kind of expected to, you know, graduate college or graduate high school and know where you want to go to college, why you want to go to college, what you want to do, you know, and all that. I feel like 18 is a very young age to know all of those things. So that's the advice I would give myself. All right, next question is, do you get Botox, filler, or any other treatments regularly? And no, I do not. I have never had anything done, ever. I've never had Botox, filler, nothing. Definitely not against it. I would love to get Botox at some point. I don't know that I would ever get filler. Honestly, I'm too scared. I feel like so many things could go wrong with filler. I don't know. And Botox is probably the same way. But no, to answer your question, I do not get any treatments done. In fact, I've never even had a facial. I've never had a facial. I've never had anything done ever. The only thing I can say that I consistently do, and this is not something I like go and have done, is I take my makeup off every single night before I go to bed. And I wash my face. I try to take good care of my skin, but no, I've never had any treatments of any kind. But before we move on from that, I will also say I don't think there's anything wrong with doing that. If that's something that, you know, you want to do, then I say go for it. And, you know, it's your face, it's your body, do what you want. That's how I feel about that. I hate it when I see people like shaming other people for doing something that they want to do like that. I do not understand that at all. I think everybody should just do what they want to do. Okay, next few questions are about YouTube. So the first one was, what advice would you give to someone starting a channel? Okay, I feel like I have a lot of things to say about this. First of all, I would say don't do it for money. Do it because you just have this desire to share and talk about whatever it is you're going to be talking about. Because if you are in it for money, I hate to tell you, but you're going to be very disappointed. Because I was on YouTube for, let's see, almost a full year before I made 1 penny. 1 penny. So the first year I was on YouTube, I was essentially making absolutely nothing. But I loved every single second of it, and it was fun for me. It was like an escape. So that would be the number one thing I would say, is don't do it because you think you're going to make all this money, because you're not, at least not for a while. Because I have been doing this for end of June will be 3 years for me. And it took me a whole year just to get monetized on YouTube. So just keep that in mind. So that's the first thing I would say. The second thing I would say is make videos that you yourself want to watch. I never would recommend making videos because it's like, you know, what's trending, or, you know, you see a bunch of other people doing it. To me, what comes off the best is when you are being authentic, and you're going to be authentic if you're talking about something that you love, which is going to be something that you yourself would want to watch. That's kind of how I feel about that. I feel like I don't like it when I watch someone and I can tell they're just trying to like act a certain way or talk about something that they're not actually interested in. Because I feel like people are going to see through that quickly. So that's what I would say. Make videos that you want to watch, and be okay with the fact that for a while you're probably not going to get very many views, and you're probably going to feel uncomfortable a little bit on camera, but that's okay, because that's where everybody starts, and it definitely gets better as you go along. That same question was also about, what equipment do you use? What editing software do you use? So right now I use a Sony camera. It's I think it's the A55 or 5100, I think is what it is. I don't even know if they make that camera anymore, because I feel like I went to look for it at one point online, and it like that specific model didn't even come up. But if I can find it, or the version that they make now, I will link it below. But I actually really like this camera. It did take me a little while to figure out how to use it, just mainly because I was not familiar with cameras, like not at all. I had no knowledge whatsoever. I barely knew how to turn the camera on, and I'm not kidding. And in terms of like the settings and everything, I have watched, you would not believe how many YouTube videos, podcasts, all kinds of things that I've watched trying to figure out like the best camera settings to use, and what does ISO mean? What does aperture mean? What does shutter speed mean? And still, I am no expert. I had to stop for a minute. Cosmo was barking at something. I don't know what. But anyway, yeah, I'm not an expert by any means. But yes, I use the Sony is it 5100 or 6100? I don't know. I will list it below. But for my first year on YouTube, I used my iPhone, and I had an iPhone 7 at the time. Now I have an iPhone 11. I don't even have the newest iPhone, but back then I used my iPhone 7, and I didn't even have a tripod to put my phone on. I literally used a candle holder. It was a Bath & Body Works candle holder, and I would prop my phone up. I would sit in front of my window in my office I had in our old house, and I would film. And that's how I made my first video. That's all I had was my phone and a window. But now I do have a camera. This is not like the nicest camera in the world. It's nice and I really like it, but you'll see some YouTubers have cameras that are thousands and thousands of dollars. I mean, that I would love to have that at some point, but that is not where I'm at right now. But I do like this camera that I have, and then I have a ring light in front of me, and it's the Diva ring light. It's from DVE store. I will link it below for you as well. But I also know you can get tripods and stuff or ring lights on Amazon. I did have another ring light before we moved into this house. It was from Amazon, but it got broken in the move. So that's when I got the one that I have now. And then the most recent things that I have is I have two taller LED lights on the sides, and those kind of light up my background. Because if I don't have those, my background looks very, very dark, which I don't like. That really bothers me. So those are not totally necessary. I just have it because I like how it looks. They don't even really shine on me. They shine back there. And then as far as editing, I have a MacBook Pro, and I use iMovie, which is the free editing software that comes with MacBooks. I would love to get Final Cut Pro. That's what most people use on YouTube. That's like iMovie, but it's the like fancier version of iMovie. I would love to get that at some point. I will get it at some point. I just don't know when. But iMovie works just fine for me. Right now, I don't do any crazy editing or anything, so I don't need anything super, super fancy. It's so interesting. I thought about and talked about starting a YouTube channel long before I actually did it. I would talk to my mom about it, and we would come up with names and what we thought it should be and all these things, but it was always one of those things like we would talk about it, but I didn't actually think I'm actually going to do this. And then one day, it was a Saturday, and my husband was out of town. I don't know where he was. He was out of town. I was home alone, and I had just watched somebody on YouTube, and now I don't remember who it was. But I had like spent my Saturday morning sitting and watching YouTube videos, and I remember I just sat there and I thought, I'm gonna film a video today. and I'm gonna figure out how to edit it, and I'm gonna go back and watch it, and you know, worst case scenario is I film it and I can't stand it and I just delete it and never post it. But I did do it, and kind of like I said earlier, it was the weirdest thing. I thought it was gonna be this really scary, terrible, like nerve-wracking thing, and it was a little nerve-wracking the first time you do it, but then it was so easy. It was so easy for me. And I went back and watched it after I finished it, and I thought, you know what? I'm gonna post that. It's not as bad as I thought it would be. And it wasn't by no means like a fantastic video. I will link it above for you if you want to go watch it. It was just like an everyday makeup look. I'm so happy and grateful that I did that, because it's just, YouTube has been one of the best things that's happened to me in my life. And that was another question. What do you enjoy most about being a YouTuber? There are so many things. Number one is all of you that watch, and I feel like I know you because so many of you, I recognize your names and I read every single comment. I don't know, I feel like I know you guys, and as someone that is, like, kind of like I said earlier, more of a shy, introverted person, I really like that I have this little community of people, and we are interested in the same things and like the same things, and I don't know, it's just really fun for me. And obviously I love trying out makeup. I love putting on makeup in general, but I love to try new products. I also love to just like shop your stash and see what you have and use stuff that you already have. It's just so fun. I actually also don't hate editing. I know a lot of YouTubers eventually hire somebody to edit their videos, and I don't know, I might do that one day, I don't know, but I actually don't mind editing. It is very time consuming. It takes a few hours to edit a video and get it exported and then upload it to YouTube and then fill out the description box and all of that. It's definitely quite a process. So all of your favorite YouTubers, anytime you shop through their links, or you know, you use like an affiliate code for them or something, you're really helping to support that person, because I know it can seem like, oh, they have like this easy, fun job, and it is fun, but it's not easy. And it's very time consuming, and a lot of times you spend a lot of time and a lot of energy on it for very, very little return. I love all of it though. I wouldn't take any of it away. I'm talking way too much. There's no way we're gonna get through every question, but next one was, do you wanna do YouTube long term? And, do you wanna do any different type of content? So yes, I want to do YouTube long term for sure. My hope and my dream is to, when we do have a family one day, that I will be a stay-at-home mom and have my YouTube channel that I can continue to work on and grow. That is like, that's my number one goal. So yes, I do want to do it long term. And yes, I would love to incorporate some different content. It's really hard to line your lips and talk. I would love to incorporate a little bit of fashion, more lifestyle. I will say, fashion for me, I love clothes and I love shopping. I love cute outfits and all that kind of stuff. But my outfits and my clothes are very basic. I have very basic style. I'm much more of like a cute pair of jeans and like a plain white t-shirt, white bodysuit like I have on today, and gold jewelry, and then natural makeup. That's just kind of like my go-to look. But yes, I would love to incorporate a little bit more of that onto my channel. I also love health and fitness and that kind of stuff. I have kind of been getting into, I've talked about it, but I've been getting into going to the gym and lifting weights and all that kind of stuff. So yes, I would love to incorporate that kind of stuff more. I am definitely, if you saw my last video talking about my favorites, not my last video, but one of my last videos, my favorites video, I included some stuff other than makeup, like some lifestyle kind of stuff, and a lot of you said that you liked that. So I do want to continue to do that moving forward. Alright you guys, that is going to be it for this video. There were some more questions, but I've been talking forever and ever and ever, and my camera is about to die. So we're going to stop here for today, but I hope you enjoyed this Q&A. This was so fun. I think I definitely did not mention a lot of the stuff that I used, but I will list and link everything for you down below. And thank you so much to those of you that submitted a question. These are really fun, so I'll definitely continue to do more Q&As in the coming years, coming months, whenever. There's so much fun to film. And I know I talk a lot. I talked a lot, but hopefully you feel like you know me a little bit better now. And thank you so much for being here. If you would like to submit a testimonial for me for the Sephora Squad, I will list the link below. Thank you so much to those of you that have done that already. It just means so much to me. And thank you for being here. Make sure to give the video a thumbs up. If you're new, I hope you'll subscribe, and go follow me over on Instagram at simply.blair and TikTok simply.blair1. I will see you guys next time for another video. Remember, simply be you. Bye.
Sunday morning, waking up with you. We got no plans, we got nothing to do.